Alright, so what we ended up doing was staying at a pilot truck stop here in Rapid City, South Dakota. It's pretty cold out. We got some snow last night, about an inch. So I'm happy we were here, and it was pretty dark. I didn't sleep great, but I slept good enough. I feel pretty good now. It's about 6 a.m. Sunrise is about 5:40. It's a little bit earlier than in Ohio because it's further north. And also, we're in Mountain Time Zone here in Rapid City. Half of the state, well, I would say more like 3/4 of the state is in the excellent Mountain Time Zone in South Dakota. So hopefully the snow isn't too prevalent on the trip, but when you're driving to Alaska in early May, you never know, I suppose. So we have officially made it to South Dakota. We ended up staying in Rapid City. I drove back to get the picture by the Wyoming state sign, so we're technically at the Wyoming-South Dakota border right now. Car's running good. Very desolate road. As I went further and further in South Dakota, it was late at night. I started seeing things because it was so cold out. But it's a really beautiful area, South Dakota. Unfortunately, it was dark for most of the time that I drove through it, but still, it was pretty. And this is the western part of the state is probably the most beautiful part, with the Black Hills and Mount Rushmore and stuff. So obviously I took the U-turn and arrived here at the Wyoming state sign. This is probably one of the best state signs I've ever seen. We're right off of Route 90 and getting ready to cross into Wyoming. It's the first time I've ever been in Wyoming, actually. And I think on this side of the road the wind actually picks up. It's kind of cold. It's about 30 degrees right now. It's 8:05 a.m. and Mountain Time. So I'll keep you updated through the trip and do some videos through Wyoming, because I know it's a beautiful state. We're coming down here to Sheridan, Wyoming. It's finally starting to clear out. As you can see, this is a beautiful part of the state here with the rolling hills, and then there's some snow-capped mountains earlier. When we first started this here in Wyoming, it was snowing pretty bad. Now it's just there's some snow here and there, and then on the mountain way over there, you can hardly see them. There's some snow caps on the mountain. So coming down into Sheridan right now. Alright, so I finally arrived here in Montana. It took about 3 hours once I hit Wyoming border to reach the Montana state line. It really looks pretty. We've been following this mountain range all the way through Wyoming. I think eventually we're going to cross it here on 90 in Montana. So I'm looking forward to that. There'll be more snow. It's pretty cold right now. It's windy and about 30 degrees. And as you can see, this truck here has a lot of snow and ice on it. So we just crossed the Continental Divide, getting ready to head into Butte, Montana. I think we got about, let's say, 200 miles to the Idaho border. So that'll be probably the next stop, unless I have to get gas. Pretty good on it. We're stopped here in some small town in western Montana at the Exxon station. My dad just filled up, and it's been a good trip. The most unusual thing I've seen so far is the wind turbines in western Minnesota. It's really pretty cool. Car's holding up good. Been a lot of trains along Route 90 in Montana, and the snow melted away. It's about 53 degrees now. Originally when we entered Montana, it was slightly below freezing and there was snow on the ground. So it's really warmed up a lot. We finally made it to Idaho. It's a beautiful sign with a beautiful backdrop. There's some snow here. As you can see, we parked the car way up there. Then up on the higher elevation, there's some snow. And look out past recreation area, the next right there. This is probably the most scenic background that I've had so far with the with that mountain behind me.